Are we witnessing the unraveling of Israel? A fragile ceasefire shattered, political turmoil erupting, and the threat of all-out war looming over Gaza, all happening at once. This isn't just a news report. It's a potential turning point for the entire region. Prime Minister Netanyahu, already facing a corruption trial and mounting public anger, has launched a series of moves that are sending shockwaves through Israeli society. First, airstrikes on Gaza, breaking the fragile truce with Hamas. Then, the attempted firing of Ronen Bar, head of the Shin Bet security agency, a move seen as a direct attack on independent institutions. What's going on here? Is this a desperate attempt to cling to power, or is something more fundamental at play? Let's break it down. The official reason for the Gaza strikes is Hamas's alleged violation of the ceasefire terms, but critics argue that Netanyahu is deliberately escalating the conflict to distract from his domestic woes and appease his far-right coalition partners, who are pushing for a much more aggressive approach toward the Palestinians. The attempt to oust Ronen Bar is even more controversial. Bar is said to have angered Netanyahu by investigating alleged leaks and questionable connections to Qatar within the Prime Minister's office. Firing him would be seen by many as a blatant act of political interference, designed to silence dissent and consolidate control. And it's not an isolated incident. This comes hot on the heels of a similar attempt to dismiss the Israeli Attorney General, further fueling accusations of an assault on the rule of law. Amichai Cohen, a law professor at the Israel Democracy Institute, puts it bluntly: the judicial overhaul is back. He's referring to Netanyahu's controversial efforts last year to weaken the power of the Supreme Court, which sparked massive protests and deepened divisions within Israeli society. These efforts were suspended after the October 7th attack, but now it seems they're being resurrected under a different guise. The opposition sees these moves as a grave threat to Israeli democracy. They argue that Netanyahu is dismantling the checks and balances that prevent the government from abusing its power, paving the way for a more authoritarian and less pluralistic society. As Barak Seri wrote in Maariv, Netanyahu is on his way to dismantling everything that is protecting Israel as we have known it since its establishment. But Netanyahu's supporters paint a different picture. They argue that these reforms are necessary to rein in unelected officials who have overstepped their bounds, and that they will make the government more accountable to the will of the people. They also point to the Shin Bet's failure to prevent the October 7th attack as justification for Bar's dismissal. The situation in Gaza is equally fraught. The Israeli strikes have already killed hundreds of Palestinians, including women and children, and threaten to plunge the region back into full-scale war. Hamas has vowed revenge, raising the specter of renewed rocket attacks on Israeli cities. The international community is deeply concerned. The White House has voiced support for Israel's actions, but urged restraint. Egypt, Qatar, and the United States are desperately trying to mediate a new ceasefire, but the prospects for success appear dim. What does all of this mean for the future of Israel? It's hard to say. But one thing is clear: the country is at a crossroads. The decisions that Netanyahu makes in the coming days and weeks will have profound consequences for the region and for the future of Israeli democracy. Will he choose the path of reconciliation and compromise, or will he continue down the path of confrontation and division? The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end, and see you in the next video.